Good evening, YouTubers. I just wanted to make a quick video on this new channel I found. This young man is called Citizenship Quickly. He has a very interesting website, or pardon me, he has a website, but he also has a very interesting YouTube channel. Here's a little blurb he talks about here in Central America and Guatemala about why he likes Guatemala that most people don't understand. Anyways, I'm going to put this on so you can hear.
One of the most misunderstood countries that it just blows my mind that most people don't think about is Guatemala. Guatemala has actually almost a tax system that's almost a pure tax haven. It's incredible how low, not only the where you can not have to pay any income taxes outside the country, but the internal tax is almost zero. It's real low. And I've got videos on Guatemala. You can look at that too. Now, Guatemala is probably the cheapest country as far as things to buy. Food, medicine, around the clock nursing care, at retirement. And there are places that are off the wall like this that are going to be the new fast-growing areas to go in. And this is where you can buy property really inexpensive if you're looking to do that. Ecuador is another one. I like Ecuador because, of course, all of these allow dual citizenship. None of these require you to relinquish your passport that you currently have. Ecuador is really nice because it's very inexpensive, like Guatemala. And, of course, you do have to pass the Spanish test in Guatemala and also Ecuador to get the passport and citizenship. That's probably the biggest disadvantage there. The visa-free travel, of course, in Guatemala.
I would point out that in Guatemala, the Spanish test isn't as difficult as people think. And a lot depends on who your lawyer is as far as passing that if your Spanish ain't so great. Here, I'll put it back on.
Guatemala is better than Ecuador. Guatemala does have visa-free travel to the Schengen countries. St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
He just pointed out how Guatemala has visa-free travel to all the Schengen countries, which is important for some people, not important for me, but for some people. And he also pointed out how even though Guatemala has a bad reputation, it's quite a bit better than even Ecuador. I'll just play it a little bit longer just to give you an idea of this channel.
I've got another tape I put out on that. That's a real good program. It has dual citizenship, has a territorial tax system. It's not a pure tax haven. It's a beautiful place to live in the Leeward Island chain of countries. And this is one place that you ought to consider English speaking.
Anyhow, at the beginning of the video, this video is called The Conservative and Smart Way to Get a Second Passport. Anyhow, in the beginning of the video, he talks about St. Kitts and the St. Kitts and I forget the other island. Anyways, they have one program where you make an investment and you get I think a passport in about 2 or 3 months. But what he talks about is in St. Kitts they have 2 programs, and the second program most people don't know about, and that's where you don't have to make an investment, but you just have to pay lawyers' fees to get the residency, and you have to wait quite a bit longer to get the passport. That's the difference. For St. Kitts is you can make a big investment and get the passport really quick, or you can just pay lawyers' fees and get residency and then get it over a longer period of time. It takes a longer period of time to get it, but anyhow, I'm just going to show you real quick the channel here. Again, he's Citizenship Quickly. And you're probably not going to see all of it because I have my window kind of small. But he's got all kinds of videos on St. Kitts. I think he lives there part-time. And Bolivia, residency by investment. Bhutan, residency by investment if you want to be in Asia. Hong Kong, nationals and U.S. citizen travel, some kind of video about there. Anybody, here's another one, Africa. Benin, residency by investment if you want to be in Africa. Belarus, residency by investment. I'm not really interested in residency by investment because I'm more interested in getting a low-cost residency that leads to passport. But there are caveats to that, as he pointed out. Sometimes there's a language test, and sometimes there's taxes. But as he pointed out, in a lot of Latin American countries, taxes, if you go to the website, say they're kind of high, but actually in reality they're not really high. He didn't say in that Conservative and Smart Way to Get a Residency that Basically, taxes in Guatemala internally are like 5%. Most people don't recognize that. And that's if you really want to pay them. There's kind of ways around that too. He actually talks about that in some of his other videos. But here's a few more. He talks about the UAE, more stuff about St. Kitts. Estonia, the e-residency. I think most people know about that. Barbados residency by investment. Bangladesh residency by investment if you want to be in a kind of a crappy place. Bahrain residency by investment. South Korea residency by investment. Indonesia residency by investment. El Salvador residency by investment. Ecuador residency by investments. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. St. Kitts. Anyways, India will begin taxing based on citizenship. Some of the EU countries are going to start to do that probably in the future. Azerbaijan, residency by investment. Angola, another African country with a lot of oil. That's an interesting play if you want to be in the deep end of Africa. The deep end of the pool, I mean, as opposed to the, southern Africa. Afghanistan, residency by investment. Uruguay, residency by investment. It's quite high, but it's come down in price. Bahamas, that used to be Belize, but with Belize you can't easily go to Europe on that passport. That's one of the downsides. Argentina, residency by investment. Malta, that's an option for people if they want to be in the EU area. Switzerland, if you have the money. Chile, if you have the money. That's another. Chile is an interesting place where if you get a part-time job, you can get residency. I don't think most people know that. More on the UAE. He has this video on Guatemala residency by investment. In the past, it used to only be 50 or 60,000 you had to invest. I don't know if they've recently changed that or not. South Africa residency by investment, but that place is going to heck. Slovakia, residency by investment. Caymans, if you have the money. Takes quite a lot of money there in lawyer's fees. Malta, you get the idea. Then he has more stuff like, if you click down, the advantages and disadvantages of the Philippines. He talks about even in the Philippines they used to have really strict banking privacy. Now you can only get that if you're an actual resident. If you open a bank account there with a U.S. passport, you lose it all. He has a video on the Seychelles, St. Kitts. He's big on St. Kitts. Paraguay, everyone knows about that. Shout out to the gentleman who commented on the new rules. Thank you, appreciate it. Nicaragua by residency by investment. I wouldn't really go there because things are pretty unstable. Again, he has majority on St. Kitts, but even he has videos on how to get residency in New Zealand, in Puerto Rico, Netherlands. Again, it's just a lot of places. Monaco, if you have the money. Again, more stuff on St. Kitts. Mexico's interesting too. If you have a large, well, not large, but if you have a middle class income, you can prove. Just a lot of interesting stuff. And he is not the only site. There's quite a few other sites. There's been other viewers that shared, I think NDA, I can't remember the name of the site. That's another good, not website, but YouTube site to get really interesting perspectives on how to get a residency, how to live overseas, how to do stuff, pitfalls, things like that. That's another really smart guy. I don't know who he is, but he's very sharp. Anyways, I'm going to end this and get my dinner. Even stuff on, Luxembourg, Malaysia. Malaysia is very, very interesting too. But most people know about Malaysia and Latvia and Lithuania. Thailand even has a program that many people know about. That's just, you just have to deposit the right amount of money in Thailand. Anyhow, this guy, his YouTube channel is very, very fascinating. if you're interested in all the different ways you can get a residency, not the cheapest ways, usually by investment. That's what he specializes. His channel's called Citizenship Quickly. He's got over 2,000 subscribers. He also has a website you can go visit. He also has what I consider a lot of practical advice, how it really is. You know, things that a lot of the offshore providers don't tell you. The little loopholes that a lot of them don't tell you about, like sometimes there'll be a tax haven or an investment, well, a tax haven or a residency where they have sometimes taxes, but it's very easy to get around them by just forming a company, which doesn't, well, depending on how much money you have, it's not too expensive, but little things like that. He also, like in that video I just shared with you, you know, most people don't realize foreign earned income in Guatemala is tax-free, and then local taxes are, well, it depends how you do it. There's two ways to do your taxes in Guatemala, but they can be 5%, which is very, very cheap. And they also can be zero if you want to do the other way, which is deductions and all that. Just pick your poison as far as that goes. And then there's other stuff I won't talk about here that, like El Salvador or Guatemala, these countries don't have, El Salvador taxes your worldwide income, but again, El Salvador doesn't have the United States version of the IRS. They don't have the French, I forget what the French one's called, or the English ones, Inland Revenue, and then I forget the other one, but they don't have a lot of money that they dedicated into tracking down your worldwide assets, so I would just point that out too. So technically they do tax over your worldwide income, but they're not sophisticated in figuring out a lot of stuff. And when it comes to that, it's the same internally when they tax you. And a lot of these countries, if you just look real quick in Latin America and you go to the certain website, it'll say they tax you at 20-30%, but that's just not true. That's the highest rate they tax, and you have your deductions. You can get that down to either zero or very, very little. But again, this is just a fascinating site among a few others I've come across. I just want to share that with the viewers. Anyhow, have a good evening. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment, please. Thanks.